Good morning, David. Home safe and sound. And as we drove to the back here to Kentucky, I pondered things like, do we want to repower or do we want to do an original engine? What do we want to do? What kind of woodwork do we want to do, and so forth. Gonna get out here in the sunshine. I can see that when your dad put bungs in, when he refastened, couple of things. He looks like he used maybe a rotary disc on a drill to try to grind these guys off. You see these marks. It's going to take quite a bit of sanding to get that out. It always takes quite a bit of sanding to get something out. So we'll get rid of all of those. That's probably discouraged him at some point when he realized what had happened, probably when he got to staining. Plank seams on the transom are real wide. Probably what we will do is, they're very open. We'll probably take these planks off, push them down, which will make them a little longer, and then we can cut off the excess. Take that one, push it down, and the very top one, we will probably then on the very top, we'll either fill an inside straight here, leave the top one in place, and just make this one tight, top and bottom. Yeah, that's probably what we'll do, is replace the one plank. We could push it down and reuse it, replace the very top one. We'll make that judgment a little later, but those plank seams are really, really wide. The plank seams, and I noticed that when we loaded, the plank seams here are, actually, they were really tight down there in Louisiana. And what's happened, I can tell you exactly what's happened, is the humidity down there in Louisiana versus the humidity here in Kentucky, farther north. We actually watched these plank seams kind of open up. At every stop we'd look at them, we said, look at those plank seams, they're wider again. So we've got some repair to do here and or replacement. What's going to happen is when we get our varnish in here, the varnish is going to go inside of these grooves. And when the plank seams, when we deliver to, it's going to look really beautiful until we deliver it to Louisiana. And the planks will expand because of the humidity, and it will push the varnish out of these seams. We can before we varnish, we can put bedding compound in there. That's how the factory did it, and we can varnish over all that. But when the planks expand, the bedding compound will push out, and you'll have lines at every plank seam. And then the way you correct that is, once you got it down to Louisiana, we do a final on the sides in Louisiana. The other thing we can do is we can, in our varnish room, to help that situation, in our varnish room, we can take the humidity up in the varnish room and let this thing soak up water, basically soak up moisture from the air and expand the planks before we varnish. So we got a couple tricks to help with that, but I want you to know that's the nature of a wooden boat. Before you spend all that money, before we spend all that money on it, and then you'll be disappointed because of something that's inherent with the wooden boat. There is a way to cure it. I'm not necessarily suggesting that we do it. We've done this before. We learned it from another restorer that does it on Centuries. Basically, we would remove the planks like we did, like we're talking about doing on the transom. Remove the planks, butt them up tight, and put screws and fasten them on in a new position, just slightly lower, about a 1/16 of an inch lower. Then bring that one down. It would come down about an eighth. The top one would come down about 1/8 of an inch, and then we would bring this one down, and we'd add a little sliver that will be hidden up under the rub rail. We'd add a little sliver to the top, and everything gets fastened on. The plank seams and we glue the planks on, and we put black 3M 5200 in the seams, and that would successfully, your plank seams aren't going to open and close anymore. The cost of that is like $10,000 a side. It's really, it really makes it look nice, but it's pretty expensive. So because we're going to pull every bung out, going to pull every screw out, we're going to start with these planks. We won't take this one off. We'll start with these planks, take them off, dowel the holes with the screw holes, put it down lower, put the plank down lower, put the screws back in new holes, and we'll take up all that space. Anyhow, so that's one option. It looks like we've been short planked back here, perhaps. I don't know exactly what's going on with this lousy butt joint. We also have a crack in this plank right here, and we have a crack on the other side. So for sure we are going to be replacing these lower planks. Here's another crack over here. I know you're probably aware of these. Thought about the engine. I think the best thing to do is we'll have the engine assessed, but I think rebuild the existing MBL and keep it standard would be a wise thing to do in terms of the value of the boat. You are going to operate it in salt water, so repowering now is probably maybe $5,000 incremental to rebuilding. Actually, it could be the same price since you're going to have a stainless steel exhaust manifold made. Could end up being basically spend $15,000 on the engine, because I know that the stainless steel exhaust manifold will be about $5,000. We already had one priced from the same place you're talking about, from Mark at Marine Exhaust Systems in Alabama. So, and that was going to be a stainless steel exhaust manifold. So freshwater cooling, basically the same price. You can put a new engine on with freshwater cooling, or we can rebuild this one and we can have a specially made exhaust manifold made, and then you're gonna be same money. So it really comes down to what do you want to do. And I'll give you a call and we can discuss it further. But it'll have to be a dual exhaust. It had to be a dual exhaust. So now we end up changing more planks on the transom. Money's going to be about the same either way. It's going to be your choice. So trailer wise, I can sandblast the trailer and I can put the fenders. Well, we don't have the fenders. I think the fenders are still in your warehouse. But here's a bunch of rust that came out of the tongue of your trailer, and it's interesting. It made a little line and it rode with us on the trailer all the way back. So I can build you a new trailer just as cheap, just as maybe a little less expensive than trying to rebuild this guy. One that's got disc brakes. This has no brakes at all. So anyway, just some thought processes that I've been going through, and just wanted to see which way you want to proceed, because we're ready to roll. All right, talk to you soon, David.